Don't you wanna be free when you're standing on the edge of time? One word's all I need to relieve you of your rising greed. Don't you wanna be free when your life's turning upside down? Let me show you the way to go when all direction is lost. I cannot be all you need. I promise to be by your side, to help you set your mind at ease. For once I will not run and hide. I've said it time and time and again. If you want, I can be your friend. Don't you wanna be free to forget where your life should be? For once, stand up for what's right and be true to the ones you need. Don't you wanna be free and to never be afraid again? This time I will not let you go. I'll be your shelter from harm. I cannot be all you need. I promise to be by your side, to help you set your mind at ease. For once I will not run and hide. I've said it time and time and again. If you want, I can be your friend.
Hey, good morning, everybody. I see some have already said hello in the chat. So first, let me say, Debbie Sue, wishing you much positive energy at your appointment this morning. I know sometimes those appointments, the uncertainty or the anticipation of it can be unsettling. So I know I'm probably speaking for everybody here that we are thinking of you and sending you a lot of positive energy, as well as I know Sally is, I don't know if her appointment's today or tomorrow, but also wishing her a lot of healing there. So it was funny. I'll just tell a little story. I was sometimes when I prepare for these lives, I never quite know what I'm going to say. I always try and tie it back to, the current series I'm working on, but sometimes not. Sometimes if something's going on in my life, I talk about that. But my husband said to me this morning, he's like, I don't know how you keep coming up with ideas. And I thought about that, and it's simply because I take whatever I'm thinking about in that day or that couple of days or whatever, and I somehow just, I don't know, somehow put it together, not necessarily to teach, because I don't think I'm teaching anybody anything, because I think we all have this wisdom inside of us, but maybe I'm just helping you to remember. And so that's what this morning's live, it was a thought I had. I'm like, thank God March is right around the corner. I believe it's Sunday. And I know we're in all different parts of the country, but March for us here in New England, I think it represents a little bit of hope because, maybe the winter months are going behind us. But at the same time, I also feel that March can be a liar, if you would, because we will have one day where we will be outside with maybe just a heavy sweatshirt on or something, hearing the birds sing, feeling that warm March sun on our face. And then literally 3 days later, we're pulling the snowblower back out because we had a 13-inch storm. And there's nothing worse than getting a large snowstorm in the month of March. Nothing, unless it's in the month of April. That'd be even worse. And we did have one on April Fool's Day. It was back in 97. I only know that because my daughter had just been born. And we had like 2 feet of snow April 1st. But there's nothing worse, right? Because also when you have all this snow, then your yard just turns into a nice mud pile until, that dissipates into the ground. You got to wait for the ground to unfreeze. Anyways, March gives us hope, but at the same time, I guess it could be a liar. And I don't know if anybody else experiences that from whatever part of the country you're in. If so, drop it in the chat because I want to make sure I'm not alone here in feeling this. But then as I was thinking about March in this season of hope and then let down, I'm like, wow, my last year sort of was like that. So I think we go through seasons that feel like March. And I have shared this story, but I'm more curious as to if anybody else has gone through something like this. But last year, I think I told you my husband was laid off in October of 2024. And he went through a whole year, like 13, 14 months of nothing but interviews and, applications. It's the first time that he's had to look for a job that wasn't presented to him, like somebody didn't recruit him. And it was really eye-opening. He went through 57 interviews, 57, and, over 400 conversations, like 115 applications. And it was such a roller coaster. Would have so much hope because they'd get called back for a third or a fourth interview, for that company. But then we'd never hear. They just don't respond. People they kind of leave you hanging. That's something we learned. So we have a lot of, if anybody ever gets laid off, we have a lot of guidance that we could definitely provide and assist people with, because it's just really rough terrain out there. But anyways, so it just reminded me that my whole last year was kind of like March. And so let me just catch up with the chat and see if anybody else has felt like that. Because, I think what it is it just that waiting that we went through last year, it kind of keeps you suspended, right? And because you couldn't plan anything, just everything was a question in our life. And obviously then your whole nervous system, which is what I'm talking about right now, it braces for that. But I guess, well, let me just get back to the chat. I am sitting from work. Good morning, everybody. Just not remember, but a different way of looking at life. Right. You're right, Mike. Which is ultimately where this conversation is going. It's how we look, even day by day, how we look through the lens or what lens we are looking through. So you're 100% right. It's mud season for you right now? Yeah. Man, do I hate mud season. At least when there's so much snow out back right now, at least when the dogs go out, they come in they come in clean. So when we go through mud season, it's a chore because obviously we have to clean their paws before just running through the house, and but you just got to get through it. But yeah, it's not fun. Hey, CL. Hey, Daniel. I think I'm all cut up. So, and I guess that's, Mike, sort of what you said. This is where I was going, right? So all last year when I thought I was, trusting, which to some degree I was, but, I thought I was trusting, I was literally living in reaction for the whole year, right? And how do you wake up I guess it's a version of each one of us that wakes up in the morning and either we're on autopilot or we're just already bracing for a day. And I think that version of how you wake up, what lens you view your day from, it literally decides your whole day. If you're expecting a good day, you'll get a good day. And or if you're expecting, a hard day or just a different day, you're going to get what you're viewing, what lens you're viewing it from. So I think, and I've talked about feelings before, but I haven't necessarily talked about how to approach your day. So if you could consciously choose any lens when you got up in the morning, what lens would it be? And are you supporting a character in your own life, or are you supporting yourself? Or are you waiting for some external circumstance or signal to tell you that you're going to have a good day, right? I know for me last year, a lot of the times I was quote unquote waiting for permission to hear back from one of these companies for my husband. And in many instances, my day was based on that. But what if we chose? What if we chose what lens we look through it every day, right? And because I guess the reality is if you're waiting for permission outside of yourself to feel good, it's never going to come. Everything we ever need is inside of us. It's always inside of us. And I'm actually in this program called Done. And one of the things that they were talking about was if you don't intentionally set the lens for your day, the day will set it for you, right? And it usually defaults to whatever fear or whatever thoughts are looping around in your head. Whatever thought has, the loudest microphone, if you would. And choosing with intention isn't necessarily pretending. I'm not saying that. And I'm not saying pretend that things are easy if they're not. It's just choosing to filter all your circumstances before they choose you, I guess, right? Just expect something good to happen. Expect it. Set the intention that something's good is going to happen. And why not? Why not try that? It could be the same day, and depending how you set your day, you set your expectations, it's going to determine whether your day is good or not. Even when things don't go your way, right? You can look at it two different ways. And I think we all know what we should do, but sometimes those feelings come over. So sometimes you really need to be conscious about this, because there really isn't anything outside of us that can change our situation, at least for any length of time. And I know which was in November of last year, when we stopped feeling like we were stuck, and that when we started realizing, okay, what are we supposed to be learning here? That's when everything changed. When we stopped looking and we just started being, everything changed. So, and if you could do a practice in the morning, just 10 seconds, just to practice every morning, and either before you get up out of bed and if possible, close your eyes, because I feel you always remember and see further with your eyes closed, right? I think when each one of us looks at something, we can all look at the same thing and we will all see something differently because we look at it through our eyes, which are subjective. So if you could, do this practice with your eyes closed, I think you'll see further. And just ask yourself, what lens did you wake up with? And is that the one you want to look through your day with? And I'm not saying judge it, just notice it. Notice how you felt when you woke up in the morning. Did you feel stressful? Did you have, I don't know, just a feeling of uncertainty or heaviness, tiredness, right? What if you would choose, today is going to be peaceful. I'm going to feel peace today, no matter what, and bring that to every situation in your life. Or I'm going to approach everything with faith today, or trust. Just think of something. If you are waking up with viewing your day through a lens that isn't as positive as it should be, try reframing it and having it be a more positive. And I'm telling you, I always go back to this quote that Wayne Dyer said, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at will change. So when you look at it through a lens of peace, you will see your day differently. So anyway, so my husband says, how do you think of all these things? I thought about March and it somehow brought me here. But let me just go, let me go back to the chat and just see if there's any, oh, yes. Yeah, and the thing is, you know what, Brian, I think we all know this, and this is what I mean. I'm not teaching anybody anything. I just think sometimes if you hear it, then you're like, oh yeah. And maybe tomorrow morning when you wake up, you'll just remember to try this, and do it. Because it absolutely, again, I feel we have all the wisdom, we have all the answers, we have everything inside of us. If we would just sit and get quiet enough to hear it and to remember, we have far more power than I think we give ourselves credit for. So grateful I'm waking up, planning a productive day, but try to go with the flow and be flexible and mindful during the day. Yeah, definitely, you say be flexible. That's, that is key, because sometimes I think our disappointment comes from the expectations that we set, right? And there's a balance there, because at some point, at some degree, you do have to kind of design your life, right? And know what you want. So you do want to meet certain expectations, certain goals, but at the same time, I think that's where our disappointment comes from is, we expected this for our day and it didn't quite happen. So then we're left with that sense of, I don't know, stress, or I just didn't finish, what I wanted to today. So it's a good way to look at it. Yeah, there's definitely a balance there, but being flexible is a very good word. So it's our choice, 100%. That's why I named this, choose, because we get to choose. We really do. We are not a victim of our circumstances. We could choose to be a victim. And I don't say that lightly, because I know there's some heavy things going on in people's lives. I do know that. And I've had those seasons. I've walked through some very hard seasons. But it's easier to choose to have faith and to walk in with peace than not. So I'm looking forward to March. I just heard in my spirit, march forward in praise. Oh, I like that. I like that, Cheryl. Cheryl, remind me again where you're from. And I've probably asked everybody this already at one point. What type of weather do you have in March? Because isn't it so true? And I know you got Fun in Nature is going to say it's that vitamin N. But it's so true. You spend a day outside, just a couple hours outside in the sunshine and the warmth. Even here in New England in the months of February, when I'm out running, that warmth on my face, it elevates. I just feel like I run a little bit quicker until it gets too hot. But yeah, being outside, even hearing Sally did her morning live this morning, and she was showing everybody the sunrise. But you could also hear the birds in the background, right? Those birds that kind of go away in the winter months that you just don't hear, at least here in New England. But could hear them this morning. It was really a welcoming sound. I loved it. Try to focus on the positive, the law of attraction. What you think and feel, you attract. Yep, 100%. And I think the key word is feel, right? It's all about the feelings, because how you feel is how your energy will move around you, your vibration. So, correct. Cooking with Gigi and May video coming out tonight. Making hot dogs with wheat buns, mac and cheese made with pasta made from chickpeas. That's right. Daniel has this whole new, he's on a whole new journey, and he's showing us how we all can maybe introduce how to cut out some carbs and cut out some sugar, because it doesn't matter what health, where you are in your health journey. We all know that none of that is really good for us, right? So kind of excited about that, Daniel, that you'll experiment a little bit and you'll let us know what works and what doesn't. But I think even you telling me some of the breads that you were having tasted pretty good. So certainly, if you can cut out the carbs, that's beneficial. So thank you for sharing that, Daniel. Oh, hi, Pam. Good morning, Pam. Oh, hi, Tiffany. Okay, sorry. Brian is working. Great message. Thank you for letting me know. I never know which one is there or if you're both there, so thank you, Tiffany. I'm happy with my day job, so it's easy to be grateful for it. That is really good, CL, because I'm not sure everybody is, and I think sometimes we get stuck. When you first get out of school and you get that job, and then the money starts rolling in, and you just start your lifestyle. I think sometimes we get stuck because then we don't trust ourselves enough to step out of it until the universe or God comes and says, okay, Lori, enough is enough, which is what happened to me in 23. I kept thinking about wanting to make a move. I kept thinking about this, my career was not what I was passionate about. But I was not brave enough to do it. So then sometimes the universe gives you a kick in the butt. And back then I didn't, I certainly didn't say, oh, thank you. And, now I know what I'm going to do. No, it wasn't quite like that. I had to go through some roller coaster of emotions, but I get it now. And I usually say that. I usually say when I get to the other side of something. But at the same token, when you love what you do, CL, then you're in your flow, right? You ever notice when you have fun, you always say time flies? It's because you're in alignment with God. You're just in flow state. And when you're in flow state, there is no timeline. There is no timeline. So that's awesome, CL. We have to adapt. We can plan, but we have to go with the flow. Correct. Not many can say that. 100%, Tiffany. Not many. Not that people aren't grateful for their jobs. But most people don't wake up and say, oh, I'm glad, I'm a product manager today, or, I'm a business developer today, or whatever. People just don't wake up and say that. So I will look for that video. Yep. But those seasons pushed me where I am today. Right? It's just sort of what I just said, even myself, when I had been thinking about it for years to make a move outside my company. I had been with my company 30 years almost 30 years when I was let go. But I probably would still be there today. I would still be there today if I didn't get a kick in the pants. So definitely grateful. And, that's something else that I have learned back decades ago when I first started studying like Wayne Dyer and his teachings. That's one thing he taught me that has helped me so much in my life, is reframing every season of your life. There is no season of your life that is not important to who you are, to, the tapestry of your life. Every season is needed. And it's typically those hard seasons, those seasons that, you fall, where there's always growth on the other side. At least it has been for me. There's no major growth, I think, when life is just easy. So that's why I think, sometimes you have to go through those seasons, learn something, and then benefit from the fruits of that season. So, but yes, good point, Tiffany. And I'm glad that you've reframed that your seasons have brought you to where you are today. Okay, South Florida. So you've had some cold weather there, though, this summer, too. Maybe not as far south. I don't know exactly where you are, but I know even as far south as where Scott lives, I know they had some 30-degree days and stuff. Maybe no snow, but so you're still waiting for some warmer weather. Vitamin N. And I'm learning so much about but some of the scientific information that is coming out now about the sun. Some of it we've always known, But the sun is not as detrimental as some people would like us to believe. I'm not saying you don't have to be cautious out there. Of course you do, but it is really beneficial. And I think, I'm just going to say this, I think one of the worst things they could have done to us in 2020 and in 2021 was to say, don't go outside. Now, Cheryl, I know you're in Florida. You didn't have those type of restrictions, but most of the country was on lockdown. And there was some states that literally would not let you go outside. And they had like snitch lines and everything. It is the worst thing they could have done, is to say stay inside, because the sun is so desperately needed. That light is so desperately needed. And some of the science is really coming out now to prove some of that. So, hey, Allie, I'm glad you could make it, hon. We're in Northwest Montana. Warmer winter than usual, so mud season, but not complaining. Spring coming soon. Yeah, I would think Northwest Montana would get a lot of snow. But it's a warmer winter than usual. And then you have Florida that has, a colder winter than usual. Go figure. Yes, I noticed that too. Yeah. Yep. Hey, Jason. I'm glad you could pop in, hon. Jason, we do have a great community. I agree. Hello. People get stuck. Yeah, and that's where I was. And sometimes, like I said, the universe has to step in. I was at the lake and I saw a bald eagle. The fish kill has attracted some cool birds. Allie, I don't know if you know, but seeing a bald eagle is good luck, So, so I'd take that as a good sign. I would take that as a good sign. I don't remember if it was last summer. I saw two bald eagles in a matter of 2 days, up really, really close. One was up near the lake, and it wasn't up over the water, which was a surprise. It was actually standing in the roadway, and I didn't think it was an eagle, but as I got closer, it certainly was. So I'm like, okay, well, we're right there on the lake, so whatever. That's not too unusual. But then when I came back here to the suburbs and I was over near a shopping center, literally a bald eagle flew over my the hood of my car. And there are lakes over there, like much smaller lakes. So that's probably where it was living and looking for food for its babies or something. But I had never seen bald eagles up that close. Usually I've seen them like out on the lake on top of the pine trees or something when we're out there. But so I looked it up. And it says seeing bald eagles is a good sign. And sometimes if there's something that you're thinking about or something you're trying to decide in your life, that sign is to tell you that you're on the right path. So look it up, Allie. It has meaning. So, yeah. Yep. I'm saying that there's some good luck coming your way, my friend. Think exciting investment we can make is investing in ourselves, betting on ourselves, and seeing where the journey goes. First of all, welcome, Peter. I don't think I've seen you in my comments before, so I love having you here. And what great inspiration. 100%. The best investment we can make is in ourselves. Because I think we have all the wisdom we need inside of us. We just need to be able to hear it. And I think sometimes we need to remember who we are. And when you start remembering who you are, then I think you start understanding that, again, we have more control over our life and over our circumstances than we think we do, or that the powers to be would want us to know. So thank you, Peter, for sharing. Eating roasted veggies, drinking coffee, and listening. What type of roasted veggies? Beets, squash, and sweet potato are my favorite. So love roasted vegetables. I guess you'd call those root vegetables. So, Jason, let us know what you're eating. Sounds good. Every season has a purpose, 100%. So, Peter, you know Jason, so you're from his community, which these communities are sort of crossing over at this point. So, never better. Right, for mental and physical health. I think you're talking about the sunshine. Yeah, I think people are always like, don't go outside without all this sunscreen. Don't go outside. You really should go outside and spend as much time as you can outside. Obviously, if you're in very hot, high UV sun, you need to be careful, but you need that sun. You absolutely need it. Even first thing in the morning. One of the things that I just read talked about the sunrise and the sunset and don't quote me, but it was one of the rays. If it was the infrared rays, they only come out, whatever, no, I don't remember, but whatever ray the sun puts off, this particular ray only comes out at sunrise and sunset. And it's one of the most important rays, that's why I think it's infrared, that our body needs. So if you can get out there at a sunrise or a sunset, it'll do wonders for you. It'll do wonders for your body. It'll do wonders for the healing of your body. So I'll do a post about that because now I feel bad that I can't remember which ray it was. If somebody else knows, drop it in the comment. So sunlight is a disinfectant. Yes, 100%. That's a good way to say it, Pam. 100%. And not even from the physical side, because it helps your body. But just how good do you feel when you spend a day outside versus spending a day inside? And I think I shared this story that one of the reasons when my daughter decided to do the van life, she wanted to have her home base out west is because of the sun. She knows what the lack of sun does to her emotionally. Obviously she lived here through college, and she just knows herself. She knows her body needs, for her emotional state, to have that sunshine, to be outside. So, we didn't listen. We went out to the parks all the time during that time period. So did you get shut down too? I didn't think Florida got shut down, but maybe it did. I know Massachusetts did. And we didn't listen either. We didn't listen either. So the sun gives us vitamin D, smiles, warmth, and joy. Yeah. I just think about, being outside and that sun, coming down on your face. Even just when I'm running, it just feels so good right now. So, Peter, you're very well known here in the community. So I guess I'm the only one who didn't know you. So I'm very, very happy to meet you. A family of bald eagles lives in my neighborhood. Wow. I think they are fascinating birds, so much so that I want to say it's in Texas. I actually have no, I can't think. Oh my goodness. Like a camera, it's in a sanctuary and they have the camera faced on the eagle's nest. And all last year we watched these babies hatch from the eggs. And they stay with, I guess, the mother-father bird for a long time. I want to say it's almost a year. And they get really big, but it's really cool when you're watching through that camera that, where I think it's the father that brings back most of the food, and just watching, the younger eagles go at it. Oh my goodness. My brain is totally, can't remember anything this morning. It's going to come to me. Sorry. It's probably open on my iPad. Hello, Queen. How are you today? Debbie Sue is on her way to her doctor's appointment, her follow-up doctor's appointment. So I did too, CL. Brevard County had the parks steam cleaned. Oh, good grief. Well, I'm glad that I wasn't alone and not listening to that direction, if you would, for the kids. We are very blessed here in Minnesota. We have eagles everywhere. When I worked outside, I would see one almost every day. I would always stop to watch them. Aren't they fascinating? They are amazing. I agree. Oh, thank you, Pam. Peter, I'm good. I'm traveling to my doctor's appointment and listening in. I saw one on the side of the road eating something. He was as big as a large dog. I have seen 2 this year. Right? See, Allie, that's everybody kept telling me, no, you don't see him in the road. I'm like, I know you don't typically see him in the road, but it was in the road, and it was definitely an eagle, because it almost didn't leave until I was right there on top of it. And so you just made me feel better because you saw one in the road. You never have your phone like readily handy when you need it to snap that picture. Oh, just read that one. Red onions and carrots roasted. Okay. I love the onions. I don't think I've ever had carrots roasted. I know that's probably pretty bad, but I've never had carrots roasted. Yes, sending Debbie some good energy. Thank you, Allie. The symbol of the USA is the eagle. Yep. We can't change the past. We can't control the future. Living in the here and now is where change can happen. Being present in the moment is where we can appreciate the little things in life. Yes, you're 100% right, Peter. I'll speak for myself. It's not always easy, but you're 100% right. Right now, this moment is the only thing we really have. And thinking about tomorrow typically causes anxiety, depending what it is. And who said it recently? Somebody said it recently that, I've always learned that the wake doesn't steer the boat, right? So you can't focus on your past. But somebody said recently, somebody in the community, that you got to look through the rear view mirror to see where you've come. Maybe it was Rhonda. And like how far you've come. And I do agree with that. You do have to sometimes, every now and again, just look over your shoulder to see how far you've come. But Peter, you're spot on. For the last 2 years, I've had an outside job. Absolutely love it. Even in this cold weather, Mike? But I'm with you. I'd rather be outside. I would rather be outside. She's a very smart daughter. She is. She's actually looking at she's looking at 2 new vans today. So hoping one resonates with her so we can get her back on the road. Trail camera. Yeah. And actually when, I'll actually drop the link of the camera in my post when I talk about the light at the sunrise sunset, because I'll do a post on that. I don't know why I'm struggling this morning. I'm remembering these simple things. We see eagles here in Alberta, but it's a rare treat. About a month ago, there was a young one in the trees behind our house with the local ravens, crows, trying to drive it away. I would think that's fascinating. Yeah, we don't have any around. We just have hawks, which I don't want around my house. Though I did take a picture the other day. I was walking after the snowfall. I was walking, and there was a gorgeous hawk. It almost like had a blue reflection to it. And I did take a picture of it. And it was pretty over there. I just don't want it near me and my chickens. So I'm in the sun most of the day in Oklahoma, summer. I feel better when in the sun. So, see, and you're in Oklahoma where it's hot and the sun is strong. And yes, the sun does more benefit for us than not. There's just no money to be made on the sun. So they tell us not to go out in the sun. Me too. We're getting sunshine, upper 40s this weekend. Oh. So what is it normally there? Because we're getting 40s too this weekend, which to me is such a blessing because it's been so dang cold here. It's most of the winter, it's felt like negative. Where I know where Mike is, it has been in the negatives, not just feels like. But 40, I'm hoping there's some melting happens this weekend. Just get outside. And we typically try and burn every spring. My town only allows you to burn a few months, 4 months at the beginning of every year. But there's so much snow on the ground that we can't even burn. So I'm hoping it goes pretty quickly so we can get things cleaned up before deep spring, if you would. Usually by May, we like to start getting everything cleaned up and the garden started and whatnot. Hopefully we'll be on track for that. 1 foot in the future and 1 foot in the past, you're missing the present. Oh, that's a great quote, Allie. Yes. Look at me. I am all caught up. Yes, even in the cold weather, that is one reason I took an indoor job this year, to get out of the cold. So I am all caught up. It's normally negatives up here. Last week we had a day or two in the negatives, crazy weather. Oh, so yeah, so 40 is a heat wave for you too. Yes, I'd be looking forward to that, Tiffany. Well, let me just see. I don't think I had anything else in my notes. And if I don't, I guess I will close with Thoughtuary, but just before I do that, I do have here that we always need to remember that March ends. So whatever season that may feel like March that you're going through, it will also end. And sometimes you need, more than positive thinking. Just remember that, March doesn't get the final say. And we don't always have to struggle our way through everything that's in between, So we get to decide every single morning, right? We get to choose the lens that we're going to look for. And you don't have to wait for permission. In fact, don't wait for permission. I think that was it. I think the last thing I would say is I think one of the best compliments anybody could ever get is that you have the best energy going. So just remember that. Try and keep your energy high and to find ways to do that. You ever walk into a room and just be drawn towards somebody? That's because of it's because of that person's energy. So I guess just try and remember that. So just going to read from Thoughtuary. It's called All of Us. Every human has struggled, been in pain, and felt insignificant, experienced joy, happiness, tragedy, and loss, and has looked to the sky and wondered what the meaning of it all is. This humanness, this shared struggle and wonder. It's what connects the CEO in New York to the indigenous warrior in the bush. It's what connects you to me, us to them, and all of us together. And while the ways and at what levels we experience these things are indeed very different, the effects on us are all the same. Yes, deep down in our humanness, we are all the same. So when you feel alone or different or less than, or elated or even joyous, just remember that somewhere, no, everywhere, people are experiencing the same exact thing as you are. And while you think you're looking at strangers, you're actually looking in a mirror. That was pretty good. That kind of sort of relates to what we were just talking about. So it's a 365 daily reflection book that a good friend of mine wrote. So I always like to read it at the end of all my lives. So, sorry, I just closed my chat. Let me just see if there's anything else. It's normally, yep. We are in the 70s. It's really nice. That is, oh my goodness, CL, that sounds amazing. I disagree respectfully. I believe you can change the future for the better. Okay. You'll have to let me know what I missed, Daniel. Is it something that I said? I'm trying to think what I said that I think you can always change the future. So let me know if it's something I said. What you did in the past does not define who you are today, but what you do today can define your future. 100%. And I think that's what the last I had a quote up the other day, the C.S. Lewis quote. You You can't go back and change your beginning, but you can certainly change what you do today to change your end. Correct. That's not exactly his quote, but that was the quote that we talked about the other day. 100%. Is that what you're referring to, Daniel? So if I said something, I can't think of what I just said. So let me know. Oh, welcome. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for showing us different ways of looking at things. For some reason, it always seems a lot clearer when I hear you talk about a subject. Makes more sense. Thank you, Mike. Thank you. Thanks a lot, Peter. People need to be told that. Yes. All right. So it didn't go the full hour today, but that's okay. I shared what I wanted, and I appreciate everybody joining today. Because again, I always like to say it's not lost on me that we all have a very busy life, and just to even dial in, even if you're multitasking, it means a lot. It means a lot for every creator that you join and participate with, and you folks truly mean the whole world to me. You really do. I've gotten so close to so many of you that I worry. I worry about you. I think about you. You're in my prayers, and that's all. I hope you all enjoy your day. Have a great weekend. I'm sure I will see you over the next few days in different live streams and whatnot. So take care, guys.